The following is produced by 5 Star Productions USA, which is solely responsible for its editorial content, and is sponsored in part by a grant from Paul Mitchell Salon Hair Care.
The environmental movement quite literally started at the grassroots level. Although government, industry, and private groups are doing their part, it's still not enough. We all need to get involved. If everyone pitched in and did their fair share, we could reverse a trend of environmental destruction that has been going on since man first discovered fire. Many of the things that need to be done, like recycling and conservation measures, can be accomplished around the house by people like you and me. I'm Ed Begley, Jr. Join me as we look at some interesting solutions to challenging problems on today's environment.
Today, City Council
reducing air pollutants by 80%. Educational programs.
As consumers, we have a lot of choices when we make our purchases. One way that we can help the environment with our choices is to buy things in bulk. This results in fewer containers to clutter our landfills. It also conserves raw materials and energy used in producing the packaging for the product. Now let's look at a creative solution to another pressing environmental concern.
Water. It's essential to our very existence, not only to meet our needs at home and on the job, but as a source of recreation and enjoyment. While many of us may think water is in plentiful supply, that is not always the case. Nowhere is that more apparent than in Southern California, where a growing population and dwindling supplies are putting the whole region on track with disaster. For decades, this region has relied on a complex system of reservoirs and aqueducts to supply most of the water used by its businesses, industries, and people. More than 15 million today, and still growing. These supplies, imported from hundreds of miles away, put the bloom into arid Southern California, and today support an economy that ranks among the top industrialized nations of the world. A substantial portion of the area's traditional supplies have been lost through litigation, among other factors, and an enormous strain has been added by the devastating droughts of recent years. In the face of catastrophic water shortages, something had to be done to preserve this way of life for future generations, and indeed provide support for the economy on which the area relies. Billions of dollars in production and thousands of jobs were at stake. Today's environmental protection requirements for endangered species, however, make it extremely difficult to build additional water facilities and new lakes. But a bold and innovative partnership has developed in which environmentalists, regulatory agencies, and the Metropolitan Water District of Southern California have joined in a cooperative effort to not only help Southern California meet its needs, but at the same time protect and preserve the region's magnificent natural grasslands and woodlands, and the many species of animals that inhabit them. Here in southwestern Riverside County, some 90 miles east of Los Angeles, nestled between these rolling hills, a huge new water storage reservoir will be constructed. When completed in 1999, dams will be in place at each end to create a reservoir in the Dominogoni Valley, 4.5 miles long, 2 miles wide, and 250 feet deep at its deepest point. It will form the largest freshwater lake in Southern California, holding more than 260 billion gallons of water. As part of the project, Metropolitan Water District will be a major contributor toward the purchase of 3,800 acres of oak-studded hills and prairies on the Santa Rosa Plateau. In addition, the company purchased the Roy E. Shipley Reserve with its 2,500 acres of highland habitat, which will link the new reservoir's 12,000 acres with the open space at nearby Lake Skinner. A combined total of 22,000 acres will be set aside for environmental and recreational uses. The vastness of this area will enable an entire ecosystem to be protected, rather than just individual species. Innovative programs like the Dominogoni Reservoir will help Southern California meet its water needs into the next century, while at the same time preserving valuable environmental resources, an important and irreplaceable vestige of the California of old.
Each year we throw away 28 billion glass bottles and jars. When you consider that the energy saved from recycling one glass bottle could light a 60-watt bulb for 4 hours, it becomes apparent how important this is. Recently, Today's Environment visited a place where people are working to make our world a better place to live. Let's see what they found.
The future of our world relies heavily on industries and corporations. Their environmental policies and practices can make or break our hopes for a better tomorrow. Over the past 2 decades, a loud public outcry has led major companies to implement many sound environmental policies. Recycling has been the most readily accepted. It is easy, inexpensive, and has an immediate and significant impact on our planet. Employees can now separate their aluminum, plastic, and paper products without giving it a second thought. A wonderful thing has happened. Recycling has become second nature. But where does all the paper, aluminum, and plastic go once it has been recycled? The responsibility of buying products made from these materials first lied primarily with grocery store shoppers. Buying recycled goods is just as important as recycling them. This produces the loop that creates a demand for recycled rather than virgin-based materials for new products. Now, companies, along with consumers, are not only donating recyclable goods to help the environment, but they are also buying them. Tons of discarded paper are collected from businesses throughout the Northeast each week. All of this waste paper would normally be landfilled or incinerated. But the Encore Paper Company of South Glens Falls, New York, is taking a major portion of this reclaimable resource, recycling it into paper products, and selling it back to major corporations and local businesses. This system creates its own loop and ensures a market for what was once thought of as garbage. The paper is brought to the plant where it undergoes its first stage, de-inking. The usable paper fiber is separated from the ink with a combination of caustic soda, hot water, and an agitator. It's then screened to get rid of any paper clips and staples. The pulp is diluted and spread over a moving screen, making thin sheets of paper, before being dried and wound onto large 2-ton rolls of paper. These are cut, wound, or folded into smaller rolls to make all sorts of paper goods, from napkins to tissues to paper towels. Products that will be used by thousands of people every day in restaurants, department stores, and employee lounges. All of Encore's products are made from 100% recycled fiber, which saves 880,000 trees every year, a vast amount of landfill space, and keeps harmful incinerator emissions from polluting our air.
A typical faucet uses 3 to 5 gallons of water per minute. If the water is left running when you brush your teeth or shave, you're wasting a lot of water. Shut it off when you don't need it. Next, we'll see how another environmental problem is being addressed.
What good can come from water going bad? Well, strangely enough, there can be benefits. When it was discovered that Boone Lake was being polluted by wastewater being discharged into the lake, Bristol, Tennessee, and Bristol, Virginia, the 2 cities which share the wastewater collection and treatment system, decided that it was time to take positive action to upgrade their facility. With the goal of staying ahead of future demands, a $24 million program was put into effect by the Twin Cities to provide a unique solution to their biosolids or sludge disposal problems. The day-to-day operations, maintenance, and management of the system are carried out by Houston-based Professional Services Group Incorporated, which has operated the city's wastewater treatment plant since 1987. One of the major problems in a typical facility is the disposal of biosolids, the substance remaining after the wastewater has been cleaned up. Because incineration proved too costly, inefficient, and unreliable, PSG began applying the processed biosolids to farmland in 1987, working closely with Bristol officials. A $7 million composting system for biosolids has replaced the land application method and is now Bristol's primary disposal method. Composting is accomplished in a system where a coarse sawdust is added to the biosolids. The sawdust acts as a biological carbon food source for the naturally occurring microbes, bacteria, and fungi, breaking down and decomposing the organic waste, thus creating soil improvement. The cities originally planned to purchase wood chips to grind into sawdust for use in the process, but found it was more advantageous to make it on-site from brush waste generated by both of the cities. Since this waste would have eventually wound up in the local landfill, the composting process is providing an additional environmental benefit to the community. An on-site grinder reduces the wood to chips approximately 2 inches long, which are then converted into sawdust and mixed with biosolids. The mixture remains in the system's bioreactors for 30 days, moving downwards as new materials are added at the top. And compost is removed regularly from the bottom of the cure reactor and placed in rows on a concrete pad for final curing. The result of the process is a granular, nutrient-rich soil additive that looks like peat moss. It has been cleared by the state of Tennessee for unrestricted use. It's suitable for landscaping, nursery, and horticultural applications, and will be used at the city's public golf courses and parks. While it is currently being used for the community or given away, sales of the compost will eventually offset a portion of the compost production costs. Community leaders are confident that Bristol's sludge composting system will satisfy any future biosolid disposal regulations for at least 20 to 30 years, while providing some very positive benefits to the environment.
Washing a pair of jeans by itself in an automatic washer is not very environmentally sound. To get the most out of your washer and dryer, wait until you have a full load. Otherwise, you waste water, energy, and soap. Now let's turn our attention to the solution of another environmental problem.
When we think about our environment, we must consider everything that surrounds us. We must consider the consequences of littering our streets and roads, because ultimately this is usually where it ends up, in our water systems. And what about the effects of smog and air pollution produced by industry and traffic? The effects may permanently damage the Earth's atmosphere as well as our water supplies. A major contributor to this kind of pollution is caused by waste of another sort, the wasting of energy. The seemingly insatiable demand for electricity has put an enormous burden on our ecosystem. Most electrical power plants are fueled by coal. Although coal is plentiful and an efficient source of energy, a major component of acid rain comes from the sulfur dioxide emissions produced by burning coal. Naturally, the more electricity we use, the more coal we burn. But polluting power plants might soon be a thing of the past. Here in Richmond, Virginia, is an electrical power plant that's smaller than most and generates over 110,000 kilowatts of electricity, or enough to satisfy the needs of 84,000 homes. But it also provides all of the steam for a neighboring chemical company's manufacturing needs. It is one of 10 such utility-grade facilities developed by Cogeneration of Charlotte, North Carolina. These facilities were built at nearly 2/3 the cost of comparable facilities, making them among the most economical producers of electricity in the country. Although they're fueled by coal, these plants are also of special interest to environmentalists. They're smaller, making them less stressful to the immediate environment. They utilize innovative design, the latest environmental control technology, and cost-saving construction concepts. This is good for the economy as well as the environment, because it has greatly reduced the cost of producing electricity. This plant controls sulfur dioxide emissions to microscopic levels required by the 1990 Clean Air Act amendments for the year 2000, simply by burning low-sulfur washed coal. Some of the company's other facilities employ dry scrubbers to reduce sulfur dioxide emissions by more than 90%. Here, particulates, which are visible in smoke, are removed with a filtration system that is more than 99.8% efficient. All of the residue from the filtration system is then loaded into trucks for recycling by their subsidiary Reuse Technology. The leftover ash is used for fertilizer, potting soil, in the manufacturing of concrete block, and as structural fill. Water from brackish aquifers is treated and used in recirculating cooling towers. Environmentally safe chemicals are used to extend the use of each gallon of water in the system, minimizing demand. Electrical power plants like the Cogeneration plant set a new standard in environmental responsibility in the energy business. Their innovative approach actually eliminates some pollutants from forming and manages those that do. And the recycling of ash residue all adds up to a successful effort in keeping the air and water clean while still providing the benefits and convenience of electrical power. Because each plant provides low-cost, clean steam to an adjoining business and electricity to the utility, they've formed partnerships with the communities they serve. Partnerships where everyone wins.
A leaky faucet that fills a coffee cup in 10 minutes can waste 3,000 gallons of water a year. The really sad part is that a small rubber washer costing only a few cents can usually correct the problem. In this next segment, we'll see how one company is dealing with another environmental matter.
If we want something to last for a long time, we take care of it. However, some things don't need to last a long time, like single-use packaging. This container, for example, is made from the same material as PVC water or drain pipe. These pipes are designed to last in the ground for upwards of 30 to 50 years. The PVC bottle may also last that long before decomposing, depending on the conditions to which it is exposed. If we dispose of these containers in a different way, modern technology can make good use of the discarded PVC. It no longer has to go to a landfill. Now this waste can be sent to a plant where recyclables are collected. Everything is sorted by material and sent to the proper place to be processed. Occidental Chemical Corporation of Dallas, Texas purchases discarded PVC containers from recyclers all over the country and starts them on the road to a new recycled life as EcoVinyl, the only commercially available recycled vinyl bottle compound. First, the containers are sorted and bottles are ground into flakes. The flakes are washed in soap and hot water and agitated to remove labels and residue. Then they're thoroughly rinsed. And when dried, are mixed with new PVC bottle compound at a ratio of 1:3. They're melted and pushed through a screen for additional cleaning, then extruded and cut into pellets, not unlike being processed through a meat grinder or pasta machine. These pellets are now ready to be sold to processors like Amex Packaging Limited of Mooresville, North Carolina, who will begin the process of making the EcoVinyl material into a variety of new containers. When the pellets arrive, they're poured into a hopper. The hopper feeds them into the extruder section of a blow molding machine, which heats the pellets and forms them into a continuous hollow tube of plastic called a parison. A two-part bottle mold clamps together around the parison, holding it in the center and pinching the bottom. It is cut off and air is forced into the open end, blowing the parison into the shape of a bottle mold. After the plastic cools, the mold opens and the bottle drops onto a conveyor belt. It looks like a new bottle, only this one is made with 25% recycled plastic.
You know, a lot of people think that recycling means that you take the bottles and you throw them in the blue bin and you set them out at the curb. But that's just the start. What recycling really means is that you buy recycled products like this EcoVinyl bottle and you bring them home and use them. And you throw them in the blue bin and set them out at the curb, and you do it over and over again.
PVC has undoubtedly made our lives easier by giving us lightweight, shatterproof containers. But it's up to each of us to keep the recycling program alive. While not every community collects vinyl, every community can add vinyl to its recycling program. Recycling can only become a complete process when the consumer purchases products made with recycled material. Some manufacturers still avoid using recycled bottles, thinking that their appearance is inferior. You, the consumer, can change their minds. It's up to all of us to make a difference. With just a little effort, we can help technology do the job it was intended to do. Protect our future by protecting Mother Earth.
Keeping the right pressure in your tires can go a long way towards helping the environment. With proper inflation, you will get better gas mileage and the tires will last longer. In our next segment, we'll see how technology is being applied to solving another environmental problem.
We never really stop to think about how it works. With the simple flick of the switch, we have light, kitchen appliances, and cool temperatures in the summertime. While consumers expect their electricity to be accessible at any time, power companies are always searching for ways to be more energy efficient. One alternative source of energy is hydroelectric power, or the production of electricity through water power. Not only is hydropower non-contaminating to our environment, but like solar power, it is a renewable resource with unlimited potential. There are two ways of producing this form of energy: conventional methods, which include the use of rivers and dams, and pump storage, a unique process which produces electricity from a reservoir system. During peak consumption periods during the day, a pump storage facility releases water from an upper reservoir to drive its turbines and produce electricity. This electricity is then sold to utilities, which add this power into their existing distribution network. The water is then collected in a lower reservoir, and during nighttime off-peak hours, by reversing the turbines utilizing unwanted available power, is pumped back to its original source for reuse. This provides two benefits. It saves utilities from having to activate additional coal, oil, and gas-powered generators to handle the demand for extra energy during peak hours. In addition to providing them with the ability to run their thermal units more efficiently, thus eliminating the need to reduce the efficiency of existing units at night, which would create additional pollutants. Kvaerner Hydropower Incorporated, located in Stamford, Connecticut, is a member of Kvaerner's International Group of Hydropower Companies. This organization not only builds but operates a variety of hydropower facilities worldwide and was instrumental in the development of high-head pumped storage power generation. In response to growing demands for energy and global efforts to conserve our resources, the company has designed a state-of-the-art 2,000-megawatt hydro plant to be built underground in Rockaway Township, New Jersey, located just 30 minutes from New York City. At an estimated cost of $1.8 billion, the system will produce electricity in the midst of one of the largest power markets in the United States. When the Mount Hope Water Power Project becomes operational sometime in 1999, it will be the only pumped storage hydroelectric power station utilizing an underground artificial reservoir with water from a surface reservoir supplying the turbines, and the spent water being held in the underground reservoir excavated some 2,500 feet beneath the surface.
For decades, pumped storage has provided for clean and efficient energy storage. Modern pumped storage technology additionally gives the utilities the ultimate tool to optimize the use of their existing facilities, thereby reducing pollution levels.
In fact, not only will their power needs be met, but additional benefits to the local township will be found in the creation of an environmental center, restoration of surrounding historical structures, and the development of recreational areas. Solutions like these provide us our modern conveniences when we need them, where we need them, without sacrificing the future of our children or our planet.
If you're among the more fortunate people who have a heated swimming pool in your backyard, you can reduce your energy costs by using a pool cover. These inexpensive covers will prevent heat from escaping during the night. That means you use less energy to maintain a comfortable water temperature. I'm Ed Begley Jr. Join me next week as we explore more environmental solutions on Today's Environment.
If you know of any interesting environmental success stories, call us at 407-997-9800. This has been a presentation of 5 Star Productions USA. The preceding program was sponsored in part by a grant from Paul Mitchell Salon Hair Care.